Hi, welcome to our math. Today I'm doing a series of videos on solving polynomials, and I'm specifically using completing the square to do it. For completing the square, we have a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. All right, so this is not in the right form. First of all, it needs to, we need the number in front of the z squared to be 1. If I come through and I divide all three numbers by 7, I can do this because of the equal sign, so I'm really dividing both sides by 7. I end up with z squared plus 6z. I'm going to leave some space here, and I'm going to say equals negative 20. Okay, so I now have this looking like the beginnings of this, but I have to realize this 2ab, or 2zb, is equal to 6. To figure out what b is, I need to take the 6 and divide it in half to make it 3. So what I really want to do is I want to make the left-hand side of my equation z plus 3 squared. Well, to do that, I need to bring the b squared over here. So I need to take the 3 and square it and make it 9. To keep this balanced, I need to add the 9 to both sides. If I add 9 to both sides, I get that this is equal to negative 11. All right, when I bring in my square root with my plus or minus, you might notice right away there's a negative under the square root. You need to figure out what your teacher wants you to do for the solution. Some teachers would take this negative under the square root and immediately say no real solution, because there isn't. The only solution is imaginary. However, you might have a teacher who is going to the imaginary solution, at which point we'd have z plus 3 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 11 I. And we bring the I out, that negative 1 out as I, so that the negative doesn't stay under the square root. And then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So z is equal to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 11 I. And make sure that I is not under the square root. Again, you need to figure out which solution your teacher is looking for. Okay, for this next one, I'm going to start very similarly, where the h squared has a 10, and I'm going to divide each term by 10. So that I have h squared minus 2h minus 15 equals 0. All right, I know some of you are thinking this wouldn't be hard to factor, but we're going to add this 15 over so we can do completing the square. H squared minus 2h equals 15. All right, so now we do the same process. We take this middle number, this negative 2, and divide it in half to get negative 1. We want to turn the left-hand side into h minus 1 squared. We take this negative 1 and square it. It becomes a positive 1, and that needs to be added to both sides of the equation so that my equation stays balanced. Plus 1 equals 16. Okay, now that I have my variable in one term, I can square root both sides with a plus or minus so that I have h minus 1 equals negative 4 or h minus 1 equals a positive 4. If I add this 1 over, I get that h is equal to negative 3 or 5. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks!